Good morning, Enid. It is Thursday, April 28th. Thank you for joining us. We have a great show for us, for you and for all of us today. Right now it's clear and 46. It is gorgeous out. No wind, just a cool morning at 46 degrees. And it's going to be sunny and 72. It's going to be golf course weather today. So glad that you're with us. We have a great American in the room with us today. I'm Steve Keim.
And I'm Ashley Keim.
We are so excited about bringing you this gentleman has a great story. It says the true story of a Vietnam helicopter pilot and his crew, Black Cat 2-1. And we'll learn more about our special guest here today on Good Morning Enid.
Absolutely. We are back on another gorgeous Thursday morning. So happy to be here, and stay tuned for our 3-day forecast and other happening events over Oklahoma in the course of the last week. It is time to rise and shine.
Good morning, Enid. Wow, April's gone. Today's 28th.
I know, I can't believe it.
My daughter has a birthday on May 2nd, which is Monday, and she's going to be way old.
And you're not going to say how old, right?
She's 36. She will be 36. How can the little girl be 36?
That's right.
Oh, wow. And I say that to say, where does the time go?
Absolutely.
Where does the time go? We are so glad that you're with us today. We're really excited about the program. Our special guest I met a month or so ago, and we were looking at a way to get this guy on Good Morning Enid, and today's that day. So anyway, it is a gorgeous 46 degrees outside. And Ashley, it's good to see you again. How's the engineering world?
We're busy. We have so many projects going on, also with the budget meetings.
Yeah.
We are just super busy.
Absolutely. Well, let's look at the current temps across the state. It's 46 here in the Enid area, and you can see all the way up to Three Sands, all the way to Frogville, Oklahoma. Right now, it's 55 degrees, and Penn selected some big cities for us. I think that's Dokie. I'm not sure. Or Doxie? Dokie? Doxie? Okay.
Doxie.
Yeah.
All right. And
thanks,
Flores?
AJ.
Is that Flores?
AJ's our local Oklahoma historian, so we'll turn to AJ on that.
Sure.
So you can see from the 40s to 50 across the state, but it's going to be sunny and 72 across Oklahoma today, so very nice.
Absolutely. And then the weekend, Steve, over the weekend, the 3-day forecast, we're still going to stay in the high 60s. There's a chance of rain tomorrow, 80% chance of rain, so prepare for that. Take your umbrellas to work. But otherwise, it's looking like it's going to be a nice, cool, warm, breezy weekend.
Not bad. Lows for 40s, highs for 60s, not bad. Not swimming pool weather yet, but one of these days it's going to be about 175, and we're going to be thinking, man, when can we get to this 40-degree weather again? But by the way, there's a 60% chance of rain tonight. It's going to be gorgeous today, sunny 72, but the weatherman says 60% chance of rain tonight, and gives all the wheat a drink.
Absolutely.
And it's been growing. And I think rumor has it it's changing its colors too, because you know May is
getting pretty close.
May Sunday, right? So, and May's usually that month where things really start changing for wheat. So, just a quick meeting, as Ashley alluded to, we have these budget meetings that are being televised on ETN, and we have a city council meeting next Wednesday. We have a budget meeting at 5 o'clock. We do not have a normal Tuesday city council meeting. That was moved to Thursday. Just go to enid.org, our website, and you'll see all these meetings. And you can see next Thursday's, the study session, all that. So a bunch of meetings coming up. So, well, let's find out what happened. Anything happened at your house for the news, anything?
No,
Pretty quiet?
not really. We've been working on our flower beds. That's about it for right now.
Yeah. My wife is the gardener, if you will, and she does a great job planting things. I just mow and weed eat stuff,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
you know, and stay away from her flowers. But she makes the yard look nice, and I appreciate her efforts. So let's find out what happened overnight with the Oklahoma Minute. Let's go to the bow tie guy, Derrick Silas.
As the song says in the movie The Wiz, don't nobody bring me no bad news. Well, it's all good news today. Oklahoma recently received $76 million in the latest annual payment from the tobacco industry as part of a 1999 settlement of a lawsuit against tobacco companies. $57 million would go to the Tobacco Settlement Trust Fund and the remainder to fund healthcare-related projects and the State Attorney General's Evidence Fund. And Tuesday, the Enid Fire Department received the 2016 Investigators of the Year Award from the International Association of Arson Investigators at the 2016 Annual Training Conference in Orlando, Florida. 2 Tulsa public school teachers and 1 former teacher received awards from the Oklahoma Education Association for roles in promoting education inside and outside the classroom. And yes, the Thunder goes to the next round in the NBA playoffs. Saturday, Oklahoma City will take on the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio at 12 p.m. And on this day in history, in 1758, he who would be future U.S. Senator and President James Monroe was born. He is best known for the Monroe Doctrine, which was a U.S. foreign policy regarding domination of the Americas in 1823. It stated that further efforts by European nations to colonize land or interfere with states in North or South America would be viewed as acts of aggression, requiring United States intervention. And that is the Oklahoma Minute. Back to you, Stephen Ashley.
Wealth of information.
Wealth.
A wealth of information. And speaking of information, I want to remind you all to send anything you would like to, comments, questions, suggestions to our new email. It is gme@enid.org. We love to hear from you. Want to know what's going on.
Send us pictures.
Yes, send us pictures. We would love, love, love that.
Send us pictures of the wheat turning brown.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then also what's going around Enid and the Events Center. Brooke is back this week, so let's go to Brooke and see what's going on.
Good morning, Enid. Thank you so much for having me back this morning. We've got a lot going on this summer. In June, we're having Alabama on June 18th at 7:30 p.m. And then right before that, Pat Benatar with Neil Giraldo on June 16th. Fun fact about Pat Benatar, she shares birthdays with Ron Stewart and Donald Fagen. Then for our 3rd anniversary show, on June 4th at 7:30, we'll have Vince Gill with Leanne Womack as well. And as of 2001, Vince Gill had won more awards than Garth Brooks. So you really don't want to miss seeing him with Leanne Womack this summer. And then if you haven't bought your tickets for the Beach Boys, we do have tickets still available, and that's on May 22nd. Lastly, we want to welcome our new general manager. His name is Kevin Brewski, and he comes here from the Bicentennial Center in Salina, Kansas. He was the assistant general manager at a Spectra venue as well. So we're glad to have him here in Enid. Now, for all upcoming events, visit our website at enideventcenter.com or give me a call if you'd like. Back to you, Stephen Ashley.
Very good. Brooke, welcome back. Let's look at the menu real quick before we get to our special guest. You know, food is always on my mind. I'm always looking for my next meal. So let's find out if you're a pre-K all the way up to the 5th grade. We have the school menus for you today for Thursday and Friday. And it's going to be this, and it's going to be that. And maybe we don't have menu for... We don't have it. Okay. So there's going to be free food everywhere.
They will have lunch.
Yeah,
they will have lunch.
They will have
they'll
lunch.
Feed your kids.
That's for sure. Well, good. That way we can get right to our special guests. Good morning, Enid. It's 7:39, holding steady at 46 degrees. And as I mentioned earlier, Ashley, we have a great American in the room. And now it's time for one-on-one with Jomara, also another great American, and our special guest.
Good morning, Enid. Our special guest today is Mr. Bob Ford. He's a Vietnam veteran, and we're honored to have him this morning with us. So, Mr. Ford,
Thanks.
thank you for being with us.
Honored to be here. Thank you so much.
We are happy to hear that you have a book. It's called Black Cat 2-1, and we want to know more about your book.
Okay.
But first, we want to start with what inspired you to write this book.
Thank you. Ever since I came home, it was on my mind to let people know what we did, because I was very proud of what I did. And I knew that if I was ever going to write it, I'd have to get all my thoughts together. And it wasn't until I went to the third grade class, Sandy Beckman's third grade class in O'Keene in 1992, that she said, Bob, people want to know, you need to write it. Well, it kind of was the impetus, because I realized that my kids didn't know.
Yes.
I never got my kids together after we went to play basketball or softball or go fishing and say, okay, girls, let's gather around. I want to tell you a war story. Well, obviously that never happened. And so I thought, if I'm going to tell this story, I better get it done. And two things were paramount on my mind, and that is to honor the helicopter that we flew, the wonderful machine, the UH-1 helicopter Huey. But more importantly, I wanted to honor the men that were dedicated and served our country, and the teamwork that we had every day when we performed our missions. And that's what made me do it. And I set out on the mission, and I got it done.
And Mr. Ford, for those that just maybe joined us recently, your book, Black Cat 2-1, is based on your travel to Vietnam, on your, let's see,
tour.
Your tour, yes.
That's what it was.
Thank you, yeah. And now, speaking of tours, going to Vietnam, I mean, we're talking 1967?
67, 68.
68, How did you prepare yourself and your crew to face the challenges of being on a foreign country, facing a hostile environment? I mean, we have internet now. We can look at things. Back then, how would you explain that?
It was a foreign country, and it was a hostile environment. There's no question about that. But how I prepare myself, really, it started early when you had to have discipline. You had to have discipline throughout your life. And it certainly carried over into the training phase of flying. And the discipline through training instilled in you on what it took to become a successful combat pilot. And over in Vietnam, once you became an aircraft commander, all that responsibility was on your shoulder to perform every mission and complete every mission, no matter what the enemy condition or weather. And as long as you kept your men informed, you knew that they would perform magnificently, and they did. And so how we prepared ourselves was as simply because we were prepared, and we knew that we were going to face the enemy, and we had clear motivation to help the men on the ground. No matter what the situation was, we knew we were going to complete the mission somehow. And it was clear motivation right there. And as far as preparing ourselves, it wasn't any more than, guys, let's get this thing cranked up. We got to go. And I let them listen to everything that was going, all the radio traffic that was going on in my headset. They also listened to it all, and they were usually a step ahead of me in preparation. And they knew I'd take care of my end of it, and I knew they would too.
Wonderful. It sounds like you had a great crew.
Every one of them were.
Yes.
They sure were. And we were all volunteers, every one of us. And so we're highly motivated bunch of guys, young guys too. I turned 23 over there, and I had some pilots that were 19, just getting ready to turn 20. Oh yeah.
Wow. Now, what is the message that you want to send out with your book on that note?
I collected my thoughts on the last page of the book, and it took me a week to write the last page. And I wanted everybody to know, you'll think when you read it, you'd think any sophomore in high school could have written this last page, and you're probably correct. But I wanted everything to be done right, and I had all the men that I served with in front of me when I wrote that page. And I wanted everybody to know I was representing them, and every one of us served with honor and dedication to our country. And the last thing I wrote in the book, and I signed my book this way, is that if you ask any of us we would tell you that we'd do it again. That's
how powerful. Yeah.
Thanks.
Now, you mentioned that they were present when you wrote that message, right?
I could see them and visualize every one of them.
Okay.
In my, and that's the reason the picture of all 8 of the pilots are on the front of the book. And it was a photograph, that's the only one I have of all of us, and I put that on the front of the book. And when you pick up the book, you would not know which one I was, and that's the way I wanted it. You could figure it out pretty fast.
You wanted
which
to
one it
honor
was, but
everyone.
I wanted to honor each one of those guys because not all of us made it. So I was inspired to do it, to do it right. And when somebody said, well, I know my dad, my brother, he didn't want to talk about it. Well, I reverted back to an old movie that I saw one time, and that was Audie Murphy. And a lot of people out there will know who Audie Murphy is. You know, he's the most highly decorated soldier in World War II. And I thought if Audie Murphy could write a book, and Audie Murphy could have a movie about him, and not only that, him play himself, I ought to be able to write a book about what I did in Vietnam. And I got so I enjoyed getting it on paper. Every time I completed a chapter, I thought, dang, you know, I nailed it. I did it right. I really did. And I'd go over and over again, and I wouldn't change very much from the initial script, only a few little details. But it was all done from memory, but also backed up. Every mission was backed up by somebody else, either a crew chief or another pilot I talked to, and they said, yeah, you know, Ford, you did it right. You really did. He said, I'm so glad you're writing this. And I'm very proud of it. I really am.
Well, you should be. It's a great read, and it's really good to let that story out and people, you know, let people in and know what took place during those years. Now, how long did it took you to get your book together?
From 1992 until a couple of years ago, it took that long to get it done. But intent work took place the last 3 years. That's when I got everything down on paper and finally when I had it completely organized. Yeah. That's when my youngest daughter put the manuscript together, and I never will forget when she presented me a big deal that she had printed up from Kinko's. I thought, wow, look at that. My name's on the book, and here it is. And I sent it to a couple of professionals, and I sent it to everybody from a 12-year-old kid to a 94-year-old World War II guy, and everybody in between. And one of the main themes, the reason I'm so glad I wrote this, was the younger generation, say from 20 till 45, never heard anything good about Vietnam, much less what we did.
Right.
I got the feedback all the time. I had no idea. Nobody ever said this. Everything we ever heard was the drugs, the disrespect, the horrible profanity and so forth. I said, well, yes. I didn't set out to write a book without profanity in it. That's just the way we were. And disrespect, no, it wasn't present. And drugs, we knew they were in the country, but they weren't considered, and certainly never, ever were part of our daily life, ever.
Right. No, in your book, I really enjoy the stories of camaraderie and how you took care of each other.
We did.
And how you were eager to volunteer and help even when you were ready to get home. So there's great stories in that book. Your day-to-day activities. Can you tell us some of that?
Now today, well, yes. I only took 5 days off between active duty and going to Keim. And I love the town. I love small town. I love Northwest Oklahoma. And I was determined to stay here and run the flour mill that we have, which is part of the Shawnee Milling Company. And because I love being out, actually I like being on my own, and I like the wide open spaces. And as far as my daily activity, I've taken leadership roles in church, civic Kiwanis, things like that, and played all the sports, and I just go around town and help anything that needs to be done. But obviously my job takes a lot of the time also.
Now, Mr. Ford, I understand that you have done public speaking and, well, in the school, like you said, to the third graders. If someone wants to contact you and have you visit a church or a school, there's the information on the screen. You can contact him at blackcat21.com, and the number is 580-822-4411. There's also a mailing address, and you can contact Mr. Ford if you would like to have him visit and tell you the story about the Vietnam War and his experience as a helicopter pilot.
Well, that's right. You know, I wasn't a correspondent, a journalist, or a reporter by any means, but I certainly knew what happened in the cockpit during our missions, because we flew over 1,000 combat missions, so a lot happened every day. But by the way, I'm at my best with third graders. I love those kids. Second graders and third graders they're fantastic. You can't believe what comes out of their mouth. Every one of them is a very serious question, and that's. But you're right. Anybody that asks, of course, I'd be honored to let them know what we were like and the men I served with.
Well, Mr. Ford, again, it was an honor to have you on our show this morning. A lot of great information. Your book, Black Cat 21, it's a great read, and it's nice to know what happened there through the eyes of a pilot, like you said, not a correspondent, but a pilot, someone who was there and living that experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're so sweet. Thank you, ma'am.
Now, let's go to our department head video, and this morning we have Sonia Key.
Hello, my name is Sonia Key, and I serve as Director of Human Resources. The Human Resources Department is responsible for administering human resources policy, procedures, and practices. We provide vision and leadership to promote an environment that values excellence, diversity, creativity, and productivity at all levels of the organization. If I can be of assistance to you, please contact me at the number provided on our website. Thank you.
Good morning, Enid, on this Thursday, April 28th. Still holding steady. Ashley at 46 degrees. However, the high is going to be 72, but there is a 60% chance of rain tonight. What did you think of that interview?
It's amazing, Steve. It is amazing. It's very humbling, and it's, you know, what a experience that I can't even imagine.
It was a month or so ago that Bob and I sat down and just visited for maybe 30 minutes, and I just thought, we've got to get this story on Good Morning Enid. So we appreciate his service to our country and all of our veterans. But we appreciate Bob coming by today. And we appreciate you joining us today on Good Morning Enid, because we have a lot of fun trying to present the news, weather, sports, but also great people like Bob Ford and stuff like that. So.
And locals as well.
Exactly.
People who are encouraging people and helping to grow our community. So it is also time to go back to Derrick and find out what is going on with the Oklahoma Minute.
Oklahoma recently received $76 million in the latest annual payment from the tobacco industry as part of a 1999 settlement of a lawsuit against tobacco companies. 2 Tulsa public school teachers and 1 former teacher receive awards from the Oklahoma Education Association for roles in promoting education inside and outside the classroom. And Tuesday, the Enid Fire Department received the 2016 Investigators of the Year Award from the International Association of Arson Investigators. And yes, the Thunder goes to the next round in the NBA playoffs. Saturday, they will take on the San Antonio Spurs at 12 p.m. in San Antonio, Texas. And on this day in history, 1758, he who would be future U.S. Senator and President, James Monroe, was born. He is best known for the Monroe Doctrine. And that's the Oklahoma Minute. Back to you, Steve and Ashley.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, and we're back.
And we're back.
Thank you, Derrick, for that information and what's going on.
This is live TV. Anything can happen. I'm going to ask Jomara if she can hand us that book, because I want Bob's book as we close out our show here in the next few minutes or so. And
Yes.
you know, well, thank you very much. Anyway, we'll talk about this. But,
Sure. And in the meantime, we can talk about the 3-day forecast, Steve. This weekend, it is still going to be sunny, bright, in the high 60s. Tomorrow, though, we
bad.
do have an 80% chance of rain tomorrow. So pack your umbrellas to work tomorrow, but otherwise it's looking like it's going to be a fabulous weekend.
Yeah.
Get out and plant those flowers.
Yep, sounds good. I'd like to remind everybody at 8 o'clock, we'll have the interview here on the Enid Television Network with that Governor Mary Fallon. A group of us had the opportunity to sit down with Governor Fallon a few weeks ago, and we talked to her about the Call Lake pipeline to Enid. We talked about earthquakes. We talked about the renovations that's going on at the state capitol. So that interview is coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. So, and I've had a lot of comments about the George Nye interview. Our former governor was 88 years old. He sat down with us, and we had the best visit. I think it's about an hour and 40 minutes, and he's just a walking encyclopedia of Oklahoma history. But that show's on Channel 11 and Channel 12, and we appreciate Governor Nye. So that's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So, well, we don't have the school menu, but we do have Brooke, and she is back, and she's wearing this, my favorite colored dress today.
Favorite color.
I like that red, so Brooke is back one more time.
Good morning, Enid. Thank you for having me back this morning. We've got a ton of events going on at the Enid Event Center this summer. On June 18th, Alabama will be here at 7:30 p.m. And just before that, we'll have Pat Benatar with her husband, Neil Giraldo. And then for our 3rd anniversary show on June 4th at 7:30, we'll have Vince Gill with Lee Ann Womack. You won't want to miss that show. Back in 2001, he had won more awards than Garth Brooks, so that's going to be a great event. And then our next event coming up is the Beach Boys on May 22nd. We do have tickets still available for that, and down at the bottom of your screen, you can see where you're able to get tickets. And then, lastly, we want to welcome our new general manager, Kevin Brewski. He's here from the Bicentennial Center, which is also a Spectra venue managed company, or venue, in Kansas. So we're so glad to have him here with us here in Enid. Thank you so much for having me, and back to you, Steve and Ashley.
Thank you, Brooke. It's so good to see you again this morning. And also, I wanted to remind all of you to not forget about our pets that we do need to be adopting out. So let's go ahead and watch our pet promo.
We are located at 1200 South 10th here in Enid, Oklahoma, and our phone number is 580-249-4910.
Thank you, AJ. I want to take this opportunity to, we want to say thanks to Enid Floral and Gifts for providing flowers and things for our studio set, and also Merrifield Furniture for a lot of the furniture they supply for us. And graciously, they provided that for us on our show, and we appreciate them. And all the people working behind the scenes. We've got Christopher, we've got Penn, we've got AJ, and we've got Dane, and they keep the coffee coming, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Well, it's another Thursday, another Good Morning Enid.
It is. It is. It's going to be a gorgeous day, everyone, so thank you for joining us.
And just want to keep in mind, Black Cat 2-1, Bob Ford from O'Keene was with us today. I believe you can pick the book up at Hastings and other bookstores, and just give Bob a call, and he'll come to your school. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.